Hello, Annika. We have two Annikas from across the world, one in Finland and you in New Zealand, I suppose.
Yes. Yeah. Hello, Annika.
Here, hello. And here we are talking about being a woman. How about, as you just said, being a wave, but also being a particle. Can you can you share a bit about this exploration you've been doing?
Mm. Yeah, thank you for opening the container to explore this so that I can speak into it. Mm, since November, I've been moving with women a lot, like consciously, like doing living experiments and traveling, moving experiments with women. And there's been all sorts of things that have been happening in those spaces, lots of discoveries. And yeah, like I guess like the question, at the core of it for me right from the start was like, how does it go to be with woman? Or like there was a knowing inside of me that, like, in order for my healing to take the next step in evolution, it's time to be with the woman. It's time to create, but which I now know, sisterhood among women. It's time to find ways of how I can radically rely on women in my life. It's and they on me. It's time to start opening up my heart to the woman, to let their love come in and to also love them. And yeah, it's been a journey since then, and it's still ongoing, of finding out what it is that I want to let go and send to the past and dismantle and take out of this prison that I've created in the patriarchy for myself, to allow for that to come through. And what I'm discovering is, the one of the women in one of the spaces, she brought this analogy of, how does it go to travel like a wave as women together and yet still be this particle that's moving in the wave. And for me, it came out of one space in particular, which showed me for the first time that when women come together and when women are willing to speak their voice and bring their impulses and let their information flow into a space when it's time to let it flow, like radically trust on what's coming through, then healing happens in a circle, like healing happens together. Or spaces happen together, movements happen together, and so much more is possible than going by myself, which is the old strategy that I'm used to work hard, to figure out how it goes, to beat myself up, to hide myself while I'm beating myself up. And yeah, it involves spaces with a lot of fear. Like, it's a really scary place because I might not have to say anything or do anything, and it might be someone else that has got the next piece in the space. And to trust that in this space, it's about something bigger than myself. It's not about me in my ego bringing the piece and then congratulating myself that I brought something
Mm.
useful, but it's like, how can I be in the space and consciously hold it while, yeah, either letting my impulse come through or holding the space for the other woman to bring theirs, and to encourage them, and to say, hey, I think you've got something. Yeah, like, so it's also like just calling out the woman and the healer in the woman in the space when she might not know yet that she has a piece, and for me to say, hey, I it's your turn now. And then for her to radically rely on me and just go, like, just say the first word, start speaking, do the first move, and see what happens.
Yeah, wow, this sounds like this kind of this new map of sisterhood. I mean, once it comes like this regional version of Survivor, like this this competition that a group is sent on an island somewhere, and then they have to. And in this version, there's set as a group of women, like the women are one team and the men are one team, and this is so much the old map of like women being together, because they're just gossiping and they're like creating like two people, they're friends, but we don't want to play with her and she's not included. And like, and this makes me so angry, because like, oh, this is the way patriarchy wants us to think, that women together, they can't work, they can't collaborate, they will just like talk shit
Create
about each
chaos.
other, and yeah, like stab each other in the back as soon as they have possibility. And yeah.
And it's very accurate what you
Mm.
say. Yeah. If a woman is not willing to look at her underworld and like own it and radically admit what is happening and do whatever is necessary to go through that together with her woman, then this happens.
Yeah.
So it, it, it is a reality.
Mm.
And and the other reality is that something different is possible.
Yeah.
And most of like I didn't know, like I didn't know that until I've experienced it. And it still blows my mind away. Literally, my it blows my mind away. I cannot grasp this. I cannot, put my finger. I cannot, because it's a creation anew every single time, and it's like it's like a surrender in some ways, to let
Mm.
the space unfold. And it's magic. Like it's magic, and it's healing in a way that when the hierarchy is not in the space anymore. And like, for example, in this one space I described, this woman, she had a sore foot, and we decided we create a healing space for her sore foot. And the healing that happens in there is not actually just for her sore foot. Like, it's beyond probably all of us sitting there.
Mm.
It's healing through me. It's healing maybe in me, that I finally can declare that I'm a healer and I'm with women and I'm in a team together, and we have each other's back. It's like being in service is being received in my service by the woman. It's growing the field of a different way of healing possible for physical aches. It's calling back this wisdom and this intuition of woman, and like the power of that. and,
Yeah.
and I don't think I've even touched I've even touched like what is possible. Like I'm dipping my toes into it, and I wouldn't want it any different. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing a photo of you, this, yeah, lying on a table, and then there's a horse. Can you share more about that situation? It came to me, this image of you
um
and the horse.
I'm touched actually that you remember that. And I had a moment of like, what has this got to do with the space? And it's got everything to do with the space right now, because Julia and I, who've been traveling together in this way of finding out how does it go to move together as women, we ended up at a place where a woman has decided to keep a herd of horses, and they were fairly wild, so to speak, in a sense that there were like, there was an outside fence of the property, but all the paddocks were open and free, and they could just roam.
Mm.
And in this particular instance, when I was lying on the table, the woman had said, like, that takes care of the horses. She said, like, this is like a space for healing that can happen here. And what happened is that the horses all were in this paddock, and somehow they knew when it was each other's turn to go and be with me at the table. And it was like I was lying there, and then one horse might come and it would use its snout to move like my left hip, like to move it to the side. But then it would step back, and then another horse would come in and move my right hip to the side. And then another horse would move to my foot and put its snout on it. I don't think it licked it, but in that moment I had this like shoot of some kind of energy going up my leg. And then the next horse would come and just stand over my womb, it felt like, with its head and its neck, and it would just be this presence and this bigness and this power. And I don't even know what the horse taps into, but it was magnificent, like to experience the bigness of it. And you know, it wasn't all the horses that participated. There were about 10 horses or so, but it was only 3 or 4 that participated in this process. And they knew exactly whose turn it was. And they also knew when it was finished. And then they all wandered off, and that was it. And to me, this is reflected in what I'm experiencing with the woman. That not necessarily everyone has got something to say or to do in the room, in the space. I don't necessarily even have to be in the space where the healing is happening for me to feel the ripple effect of the other space. If I'm connecting with the women that have been into the space, it's almost like they come out of a healing space, and then just by them being in their transformation that they are, I cannot change my shape. Like I cannot not go there unless I decide to just give up on her or myself and stay in possibly my underworld, in a drama. Like so one part of me can also go into, oh, I have not been part of this, therefore I haven't received the healing, or I haven't received the tools or the next step necessary. And if I surrender to simply being with what she has to offer and let myself be touched by it, then the consciousness changes in the space. Yeah.
Yeah, that was so beautiful, and just brought to me this vision of like how much is it, how much are we capable of that we don't even realize, like all this like sensing, like when is my turn, what is my part in this, like what does this space need, what does this person need, like all these things that they are in us, but it's never been taught to us how to use it. Or yeah, it's just like these impulses, they often like, wow, what's that? It's not rational. So it's to be put aside, but it's so important and so powerful when you experience it, like either like creating it yourself or like feeling that, okay, now something is happening here in this space. That's like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah, and in the space with women, like if like me choosing to live and move with women, I'm learning to radically rely on what they're picking up. So it's not something that I can just switch on and then it happens and then the space flies. It is really, like I said earlier, that I might be sitting in a space, and then I'm actually relying on my sister to say to me, go now. Like, no, this is exactly what like, because she knows what comes through me. She knows that I can see qualities in the space that other people cannot see, neither does she. So she's like, hey, go, give it a go. Yeah. And she's also able to give me feedback on when the delivery might not be clear or clean or contaminated with some hidden purpose. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, we're all learning to unfold the healer in us again. And not just the healer, like, I mean, it's like identities, it's like jobs that haven't even been, like, they need to be invented, they haven't even been discovered yet, that are beyond imagination, because like I don't know yet. It'll unfold what it is. And yeah, so as we go along, women are creating new jobs, and it's for the purpose of the healing of the earth. It's for the purpose of humans taking more responsibility for their actions and becoming empowered and in being able to choose what they want and create what they want, rather than giving their center away to an outside authority, which is what we've learned in the patriarchy.
Yeah, so what jobs have you created that haven't existed before you created them?
I was thinking about this yesterday, and the it wasn't a job. Well, I had like the first job title was Gaia's alchemist, and the sensation, the taste in the mouth was like, is alchemist too masculine in some ways?
Mm.
And maybe it has that also. So it's not, I'm not saying it's bad. And then it was like this, what I came up with was like, I'm the source through which Gaia's juices can flow. And that, it's like it's like this, like for me, like it's a lot the exploration around sensuality through food, through bodies, through the elements and nature, and yeah. So in some ways, right now, that's what's coming through, and I know this will change. And to also be bold enough to declare every day, I am this. Today, my job is to be on women's team to remove resentments. I'm a resentment doula. Um, tomorrow I'm walking side by side to create a new birth culture, and I become mm, a life doula, like a life giving doula. Um, Tomorrow I'm actually sitting with my dark space of bleeding time, and I become a stillness catalyst.
Mm.
Yeah. And so it's like, yeah, and it's endless, right? But it's like it's as close to reality as possible, so that I can source new steps for evolution in that, and in that, offer other women to also go through that, and for myself and for other women to claim their woman back, to find out. And I'm not saying here's the recipe, it's more like here are some doorways and here are some tools to claim that back in themselves, to say like, yeah, I have a womb, I'm everything, there's something different running through me. I'm not a man, even though I might have pretended to be for most of my life. And yeah, to really work through that and claim it, be it.
Yeah, that could be a great new tradition. Instead of saying how are you doing or how are you today, to ask who are you today. This like
Yeah.
what is your
Right.
identity at this moment?
Who do you think you are today, Annika?
I am ah like a connection magician.
Great. Yeah. Yeah, it's I like it seems to me that these new jobs, I don't even know whether they're jobs. Maybe they're just things we cannot not do, like they're like life. Like I'm not working anymore. I'm living and I'm thriving. But it's like, yeah, it seems to me that they all have some kind of root in the heart. They somehow move through the heart, and they also move through the earth. Like it's like, yeah, it's like a connection between the earth and the heart when I speak about these jobs. It's like it's not a mental construct. It's not something that you can put a GDP on, something you can measure. You can measure it maybe in the level of intimacy that's created, or the level of regeneration of the planet is possible through it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a complete shift, like this job. if you think about this, it's this construct that is it's ready. Like they have these like models of what different jobs they are, and then you have to choose one, and like like an uniform in a way, like put it on, and then you have to adapt to all these requirements and expectations that is comes with this uniform. And instead having this like it's coming from within, like I'm creating as I go, I'm doing things that make me feel alive, that like makes my heart sing. It's such a shift in like complete different shift. And it's just like the energy in you sharing what you do is like wow, that this is what the world needs, like people that do things that make them feel alive or like brings out this fire in them.
And it's a constant creation, like it doesn't stop. Like
Mm.
and this is what I meant, like by being in touch with your feet. I'm in touch with, like, if I'm not numbing it, like I'm not saying I am all the time, because I'm on the path of healing and evolution. And if I am in touch with my fear, then I'm sourcing, because I'm sourcing from the unknown, right? So like I'm continuously sourcing new ways to unfold, and that's exciting. And yeah, and it's scary, and if I'm not scared of my fear, then it's like leaning into it. And then
Mm.
sometimes there might not be anything, and then how is that when nothing comes, like when there's an empty space and I don't know what to fill it with yet? But being committed to not filling the space with pressure, to not filling the space with I have to, I should, I need to. If I'm not, then I owe these women this, I owe the world that. So I need to, if like more, it needs to earn money, like all these kind of old beliefs that run the story then of moving with this. And I can feel this, and my whole body
Mm.
is like, it's like I beat myself up, I beat myself into the space. Go faster, go further,
Mm.
go higher. And I don't even know where I'm going to. That's the most
Yeah.
religious piece of it.
Yeah, it's very I can feel it in my body as well when you're describing this like pressure pressuring and pushing myself to fit into this somehow some kind of model of how I'm supposed to be. And it's like this it's like like it's not it's yeah it's nothing fun and or alive about that, trying to like push into yeah. And it's like why should I do that? Like, and why, why don't people rebel and say like, no, I'm not doing this anymore? I get what? Yeah, and I understand why
I
people
think
don't
that
do it, but
I think that happens. Like
yeah,
I know of myself that there's these moments where I get so angry that I'm like, okay,
mm,
I need to shift something.
yeah,
But then the addiction to fall back into what I know is so much bigger. It's like, like 90% of myself is addicted to being in these dramas and being and for good reason. For good
mm,
reason. Yeah. The most of the world out there doesn't allow for this sensual, loving, feeling, crazy, wild, uh, et cetera, woman to shine and to thrive. Like it's not meant to happen. And so yeah, of course, I built all these strategies to make it. And so then I have 10% maybe that is something I know is different. Well, my default will always go 90, 90, 90. Yeah. So it's then choosing to be in an like well, choosing to first say, okay, well, this is what it is. This is where I am. Yeah.
mm,
No need to pretend that I'm anywhere different than
yeah,
that. And feel the pain of it. Like really like, letting myself be touched by the pain of like, wow, this is what I've created. 40 years of my life that's been that.
mm,
And then it's like, okay, I'm committed to grow the muscle. I'm committed to grow the muscle of thriving. And I'm committed to the other woman I live with for their muscle to grow. Yeah. So, and I'm clear again, I'm not doing it by myself. Like I need these other, it's like I have this habit where I go, well, Annika, like I could tell it's like, Annika, like today I went out there and I danced on the lawn with this music and it was so beautiful. But like it started raining and like actually I don't really do this so often and I haven't really done this for most of my life and who knows whether I will keep doing it. Yeah. And
Mm.
it's like completely pooping my experience.
Mm.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's so easy to do that. As if like
Yeah.
I cannot radiate in front of you. I need to make sure that I keep it kind of in the shit,
Mm.
like and then the tension becomes even uh, it's like I think you'd be better off just staying in the shit than radiating a little bit and then pulling yourself into the shit again because it
Yeah.
keeps reinforcing this
Mm.
belief that radiating is not possible.
Yeah. Yeah. And also like it's like this is celebrating like yourself and celebrating others is also this kind of muscle that needs to be exercised and trained because it's also feels a bit yeah for me or in my cultural box it's not something that is like done or it's just like it's really something special they've achieved
Yeah.
something like really big but just like this everyday thing or they're like this like yeah well, I did this I put music on and I was dancing on the lawn and I was like wow and then people were like wow that's so great it's like yeah
And
also
you cannot celebrate if you're more committed to resenting the other woman
mm,
in the space or resenting yourself for whatever you are.
yeah
If I'm more committed to the resent, like to wanting to pull the woman into the mud with me, to shoot their heads off, to kill their creations, including my own, yeah,
mm,
then it's simply not possible. I cannot authentically celebrate. Yeah. So it's really a choice. It's like at some point getting to a place of choice and saying, I'm committing to something different. I don't know how it goes,
mm,
but this shit is over.
yeah
Like it's been enough. Yeah.
yeah and it's not it's not easy it's not always pretty and it's messy and it's mistakes will happen and yeah there's just this commitment to I yeah I choose something else
Yeah. What's not easy about it is like in me, it's the shame. It's the whoa, like this admitting I've actually caused this. I made a mess,
mm,
and or I hate you right now. Like in like this part of me here, like actually hates you and doesn't want you to exist. And like really letting myself be touched by that, and also the pain it causes in the other person. And in that, then there is a possibility for shift, like for change. Like I, when I'm not, it's like I'm so again, I'm so construed. I think that's the word by the church or the school or my parents of how not to be and how to be. It's like behave like this good girl and in this box and be nice and don't do these things even though everyone does these things and
mm,
and, and to be able to actually stand in front of my sisters and say like, yeah, I'm doing this to you and it sucks and
mm,
I poison myself and I poison your space by doing this. It's really difficult. Like for me, it's so difficult to open my heart to this pain because of the fear that, well, if I open my heart, if I was even thinking about opening it a little bit, you will probably punish me or you will hate me, or you will leave me, or you will not love me, or whatever else is attached to
Mm.
it, and of course this is all emotional, and it's there, like that it just is. So it's a lot of, yeah, wounds that are playing in that, the just not having had the love and the care that I would have wanted. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the unpleasant part of like discovering your like my underworld is like acknowledging all these strategies and like yeah, the way I function with other people, other women. It's like, yeah, like, oh God, I do that. Why do I do that?
Do you want to share like one of the things that you do with women? Like what is one of your
Yeah,
main
I
things?
have, and I know this strategy that I don't share with other women because I have this fear that they will like gossip about it to somebody else. That is not respected. Like what I share is not like valued so much that they would keep the secret or a secret. But yeah, this is like this fear of being exposed.
And then what does it create for you? What are the results when you don't share?
Yeah, the results is that there isn't really connection because
Mm.
I'm holding back. There's always this distance.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I feel sad about it because I have the assumption that this is exactly what your heart is longing for, and
Mm,
that happens, right?
yeah.
Like, what's so paradoxical about it, that what I'm truly longing for, I'm killing for myself.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. That's sad, the sad part. Yeah. There's always this, yeah, this realizing like how much my sabotaging myself, my own like the ways I sabotage the things I really want or what I'm
Mm-hmm.
really longing for. I'm like there's this const like this sabotaging mechanism. And I want something and then I like destroy it. It's really sad to realize these
And I think
mechanisms. Yeah.
like what we discovered today is like this, like it's like first actually knowing what you want. Yeah. It's like,
Mm,
and it's like where have I actually learned growing up to speak what I want? Yeah.
yeah.
I want a child. I want a village. I want like to grow food for 100 people. I want to eat, I don't know, my own grown chocolate bean, whatever. And like to speak all of these to
Hmm.
start with, yeah, and then not to, it's like not to doubt like even like what it is that I want, yeah, because the doubt is already stopping me from speaking it.
Yeah.
And then I cannot declare, like I cannot I just hold myself back, like can I really want this, like is this too much of a fantasy, like am I, you know like eligible to want this?
Mm,
And it's like keeping myself small, like all the time. It's like, oh, but this is good enough and it's okay. And, and like, it's just a sort of, it's basically saying I'm okay with mediocre.
mm, yeah. And
And
yeah, it's
there's,
that it's not reasonable. It's not reasonable to want these things. Like
yeah,
it's yeah.
yeah. And then how does it go to unreasonably want, right? And for me, there's no way around that without having agency over your anger in particular, all your feelings,
Mm.
but especially your conscious anger, to let that energy come through, and to let it speak. Like the other day, I was sitting with a man, and for me, it's even like with women, it's, that's my journey to speak my clarity. But with men, there's like another hurdle
Mm.
for various reasons that I don't want to go into right now, but people can imagine what I'm talking
Mm.
about. And like this, like I start speaking my clarity, and like the man brings in, like discussion and conclusion and explaining and whatever he is, like still dabbling in some kind of old patriarchal patterns. And I'm like, no, in my culture that goes different. And it's like this, the anger comes up, yeah, like I can feel
Mm.
like this dragon
Mm.
that's going like, no way, and I cannot not say this. Like I'm going to shift this. This is like I'm taking a stand for a different culture. I don't let him declare this old, like outdated stuff. And then I
Mm.
speak, and like every time I was like, oh shit, 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 like this, like coming out. And then like afterwards, I'm like, like, is he gonna like, is he gonna hate me? Is he gonna walk around the town and tell people how crazy I am, or make up stories that are even not true? And I realized, like, it's for the first time yesterday, it was landing in me. Like I heard this before from other women, that like this, like when you say, like, what's really coming through you and what you're taking a stand for, 50% of people will like you and 50% of people will hate you. And the
Mm.
sensation in my body, this, woman having been hunted,
Yeah.
the witch thing, like the sensation, I could, it was so palpable in my body of like, holy shit, are they going to come and get at me? Yeah.
Mm.
And then to have the woman on my side, like I'm sharing it, you're like, this is coming alive. And they're like, Annika, no, go, this was clear. This was your, like, go, keep going. Yeah. And then
Mm.
again, in this moment, to have woman by my side that I can rely on, that if there's any contamination of my speaking coming into the space, where I might be blaming him, or I might be wanting to change him, or where I'm speaking bullshit, yeah, that they will say that to me. And so long they don't say, keep speaking, keep
Mm.
letting it come out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a new experience for me.
Yeah. Yeah. But also have this like experiment or noticing, like, what do I want? Like, what do I want? It could be like really simple things. Like I want to drink water right now, or I want to go out, or like really like simple things. But it's also like this, like it feels like what, like I need to kind of recalibrate in a way to have like this, yeah, to tune in to what do I want, because
Yeah.
it feels like it's a very dangerous question. Like, what do I want?
Mm.
Yeah, and what that can then lead to. It was
And what comes to me is also this, like most of the time, if someone asked me in the past, what do you want? I would say, what do you want? Yeah.
yeah.
My center would like just walk
Mm-hmm.
out, because this is what I've been trained to
Yeah.
do, be. Oh, I listen to my parents, I listen to the government, I listen to the TV, I listen to Facebook, I listen to my school teacher, and so forth. And so my system is calibrated to do that, to look outside for validation, for direction, for belonging, for clarity, and so forth. And it's like, no one told me that I have the agency to find clarity in myself, to find purpose in myself, to find direction, to say yes and no, to no say no. The amount of women I have in the rich clubs that I hold, that have never, it almost feels like they've never used the word no. Like
Mm.
it's like they can't even speak the two letters and oh. And then they
Yeah.
start speaking and they're like, oh my God, like my whole life I've been tiptoeing around, and I've
Mm-hmm.
been kind of like, because there's so much fear of saying no. then what, etc., etc.
Yeah, and also this like having to explain the no. Like I have to have such a good reason if I say no, and I had to like be able to explain like I no because this and this and this and this and this, and to just say no and not explain, and that's really scary because there's
Yeah.
like you have to say why, you have to explain, you have to like make them feel like it's you're not like unreasonably just like
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, and hearing the no too, like
Mm-hmm.
this. I don't know, Millicent might be cutting bread and then she's finished, and then I say, "Can I have another slice of bread? Like, will you cut me one?" And she says, "No." I go, "Yeah, but you just cut one for someone else. You just cut it. Like what? Like all this
Mm-hmm.
reasoning." Like,
Mm-hmm.
no, it's not her job now to do it. Full stop.
Yeah.
No story. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and that's, I guess, like coming back to, to the wave and to the particle. It's like learning to not enmesh myself with the other people that I'm with whilst I'm choosing to travel like a wave, whilst I'm
Mm-hmm.
committed to, like, there's something in me that knows that there is this force coming at the moment of women traveling, moving together. Yeah. Like this is like the change. Yeah. The change for a new culture, the shift, and still acknowledging that I'm I'm a particle that has boundaries and that, moves. Yeah, it moves in different directions and it doesn't glue itself to all the other particles and then becomes the
Mm.
same. Because if I then end up becoming the same, I'm doing patriarchy again. Then I'm
Yeah.
trying to fit into something again, and then I'm not honoring my unique piece that's coming through. Yeah, I'm not honoring like my sovereignty, my word, my voice.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, and this like this strategy of fitting in and not being too different or really speaking like saying things that nobody else has said. It's also like yes, it's been this structure of yeah, not fitting in and not making too much fuss about yourself, especially here in the Nordics is really strong. Like don't be visible almost. It's like this.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sad to hear that. You know, like
And of
this
course
one of
it's
the
still
most.
shifting. It's not the same as it was maybe like
Yeah,
50 years old, but
I'm
still
glad.
yes. But still then that's like it's really strong this kind of like yeah. And I also feel joy because it's crackling. People are like allowing themselves to choose something else
Mm,
and thrive doing that and like be valued for doing what they do.
mm, yeah.
Yeah, and I also know that there's like some part of me would like it to be like this, like it's something comfortable about staying in this, like not to make too much fuss about myself and not shine and not be visible. That it's very comfortable to be in this like mediocre, like mass.
Mm,
So it's not, yeah. So that's also something I'm learning how to step out of that.
mm. And like the main thing that I can say, which I imagine has come through here, is like just don't do it alone. Don't think that you
Mm,
can do it alone. It's impossible.
yeah.
And go through the layers that prevent you from doing it with others. What stops you to go and find that circle, that sisterhood, that team. And it's like, okay, if it's not here, keep going, keep go, like whoever, like there are women out there that want that, women that like thirsty for that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just kind of realized it's kind of like the fear of succeeding for
Yeah.
me is very strong.
Mm.
Like it's almost like I don't want, like it's too scary to yeah, what if I did something and it was a success? Like that's more scary than not like
And you already
yeah.
are.
Mm.
You already are. You're a mother of children. You've birthed children. You're holding space. You're choosing to make money in a different way than you did before. You already
Mm.
are succeeding. And this is
Yeah.
this is the lie also, that I then I have
Mhm.
to keep digging in. Like I notice of myself, I just keep digging in what's not working, and there's
Yeah.
another thing that's not working. I think it's a German thing also, and maybe it's also then related to the Nordic. It was just like, let's find another thing that I can take into pieces that is not right,
Mm.
like there must be something wrong. And it's like, but you
Yeah.
are already a successful woman
Mhm.
that already you've decided to take steps out of this space. And it's like a lie to keep saying I'm still there. No, it's not true. It's not accurate.
Yeah. Yeah. Just yeah, I recognize this like yeah. Like I'm doing okay, but then there are all these things that are not so okay that I would
Yeah,
need to fix or like yeah, before I can
yeah.
really focus on doing these things or like allowing myself to celebrate that wow, actually, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I wrote something this that really resonated in me. This committing to grow the muscle of thriving. I
Mm.
feel this is really powerful. This is yeah, something completely different from surviving.
Mhm.
It's thriving really.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it's acknowledging that I'm on a path. Yeah.
Mm.
I will not I will not thrive every second. Like I'm
Yeah.
not I haven't gotten enlightened. And maybe I will dismantle parts of this old stuff for the rest of my life, you
Mm.
know. But there's also an aspect of like, yeah, God knows what I'm dismantling that's older than this life. It's like the previous lives and whatnot. So it's like I did, and then it's like, okay, like what else can I learn? What else can I create out of going through these dark spaces? And
Mm.
so it's only something that Millicent discovered today. And this, how would it be if there's nothing wrong with going through these low times? And it occurred to me yesterday also, because I ovulated yesterday, and I've never ever in my life what like have been so clear in my ovulation and in my energy with it, and then its creation power. It's like so huge. There were
Mm.
so many ideas coming out of me, and I'm like, oh my God, the spaces and the things and the people and the what, right? And yeah, this is springtime. This is like everything's going.
Mm.
And then there's winter that will come, and it's inward time, and it's dark time, and it's like time to kind of churn through and compost what serves and doesn't serve anymore. It is part of a woman's cycle. And I had this question alive in me today of like, okay, so if I as a woman have never experienced going through my seasons every month how it's meant to go naturally, then in my underworld I will recreate this. There's a
Mm.
part of it that will go, it's time to stop now. If you're not stopping, I'm stopping you, and I'm doing everything to stop you in whichever way possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I go, if I actually find a way to honor, now it's creation time, now it's going because I have to
Mm.
do this, right? To do so. And
Yeah.
then now it's time to sit in the bath and do nothing and be okay with it to do nothing, or to
Mm.
research about, I don't like, feeling all the feelings that don't make any sense, maybe even, being fully in my sadness and fully in my fear and fully in whatever,
Yeah.
and just in this chaos of feeling and emotion in this wintertime. And then knowing I'm coming out of it again, knowing there is spring again.
Mm.
I will ovulate again. No
Yeah.
question about it. Yeah. So long I have a cycle, and sure, women that are beyond that, they also experience some form of that. And so yeah, I'm carrying this question with me right now. How to consciously be with my cycles as a woman, and in that, I'm acknowledging my womb, and I'm acknowledging this center in my body that is so unique to me as a woman, that has that has more to talk about than I can possibly fathom. I mean, it creates life without me doing anything about it.
Mm.
So there's a lot of wisdom untapped yet in there.
Yeah, I've also been researching about this menstrual cycle and just like noticing how, yeah, just like how effective things are when you do it at the right time. Like when you have this like creation, like doing energy, then just do things then. And then when I don't have this creation energy, when it's more like inward, then like it's better not to try to push new ideas or start new projects because it's not really, yeah, it's not the time for it. And also this, and also allowing like, okay, in a week I will probably have more energy to do this, or I will have this self-reflecting time in like 2 weeks because then I will be more focused on inwards and feelings and like, yeah, composting. And
Mm.
so it's also like really gold to discover like, oh, I'm not a machine. I don't function as a machine. Like, okay, that's
Yeah.
this time, and then things are happening, and it's juicy, and then it starts slowing down again, and yeah, and
And
also like,
it is radically declaring that, like you say, I'm not a machine.
yeah,
I'm no longer a machine. Going to a job does not work for me anymore. I
mm,
cannot go to a job from 8 to 5. Like, that doesn't work with my natural impulses that are coming through.
yeah,
I might be wanting to sleep at 8 o'clock, or you know, pick fruit at 2, or have a nap at 1, or eat food at 3 o'clock. I cannot sit in front of a computer needing having to work while my body is asking for that.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm. Yeah. So I guess, mm,
yes. What did you
this is
want
the
to
end.
say?
Yeah, I'm having this like famous last word phase, and yeah, I like it's clear to me that, in a group of women, then you're not moving like a machine,
Mm,
and at the same time you are creating a wet, like, I mean, a machine. It's like you're creating a machine, but that's so much more powerful than anything you can imagine, like running on this machine by yourself, like
mm,
on your own machine. Like, suddenly there's so much more energy being created, being accessible, and being able to share and move through, that it's just not, it's impossible in this old way. So yeah, that's that's the last piece I have.
okay. I'm so glad we had this call, this conversation.
Thank you, Annika.
Yeah. So have a good evening for you. And here
Yeah,
it's
thank you.
morning.
I'm glad it's come out. Like, it's been, yeah. I think it has gotten clearer in the last days, and I mean, it becomes clearer all the time, right? Because evolution doesn't stop. But yeah, I'm glad that I started talking about it, and it landed in you, and you could explore things as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Till
Okay.
next time.
Yes. Bye bye.
Bye.